As a psychology student, I know that 55% of communication is nonverbal, while 38% is vocal, and only 7% is actually from the words that you say. I know so many body language hacks that can help you get people to like you without even you saying anything. These are some of the things that the most charismatic people use, and I'm gonna be sharing them with you guys in this video. Hi my best friends, and welcome back to my sleepover. Welcome to Psychology Body Language Hacks to get people to like you. You can use these on your crush, to make more friends, to be more likable and charismatic in general. Because as a psychology student, I know that they work, so I'm going to be sharing them with you guys in this video while also doing my makeup. If you're new to my channel, we talk about psychology hacks, confidence, self-development, and how to be the best version of yourself, as well as some psychology movie character analysis and what we can take away from it to become the best versions of ourselves. So if that's something you're interested in, let this be your free trial. You have to subscribe after watching this one, and I'm super excited for this video, so let's get into it. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to be starting with more basic ones and getting towards the more interesting ones towards the end. One thing I'm gonna say is that I'm going to mention the one that's the most surprising as the last one, and if the first thing that I say is like, oh, that makes sense, but like I already knew that, just stick with the video because I'm pretty sure that you're going to find out things that you definitely didn't know about. I'm going to be starting with my favorite concealer of all time, but basically starting off with the first body language tip that you can use to make people like you is honestly tell me if you're going to notice the difference if you were talking to me and I was talking to you the whole time, kind of like, oh yeah, like school was great today, and just honestly maybe even turned away from you a little bit. Or if I was talking to you with my posture open, if I was talking to you with my hands, if I didn't have my hands crossed while talking to you, if I had my whole body kind of like open towards you, would you feel better talking to me in the first scenario, or would you feel better talking to me in the second one? Chances are that you would say that you would feel better with the second one. And that's because when we're talking with someone who has an open body language, we feel better subconsciously towards them, because subconsciously it feels like that person is more friendly and open towards us. So when talking with someone, just make sure that your body is facing them, your feet are pointed towards them, that you don't have your arms crossed, and you have an open body language. It is so underrated, but it's so crucial to make the person feel open and friendly towards you. But here's also one thing that a lot of people do when you want to make someone feel friendly towards you, or you want to make someone feel open towards you. That is honestly one of the biggest mistakes that you can make, and this also happens the most in the US, I've noticed, because you walk into the store and everyone smiles at you. You see someone, you have to smile. Sometimes you don't want to smile, so you fake the smile. You don't think that it looks fake. It's not consciously noticeably fake, but there have been studies that show that people are really good at distinguishing between real and fake smiles just on the subconscious level, and people subconsciously feel repelled by the people who fake smile at them. So if you want to create a sense of openness, friendliness, and warmth with someone, don't fake smile. Even if you think that you can fake smile really well, unless it's genuine, it's going to have the opposite effect. Instead, one great thing that you can do during the conversation if you want someone to like you more is to actually match your body language to the conversation. And here's what I mean by this. I think everyone can agree that while some conversations are more energetic, the other conversations that you have with people are more relaxed, or some conversations can even be sad. If you match your body language to reflect the tone of the conversation that you guys are having, for example, if you're having a really exciting conversation, using more hand gestures, using more open and excited body language would make the other person talking to you also feel the same excitement and like you more. While if the conversation is more chill, you definitely don't want to go in super excited and like have a lot of gestures and be doing a lot of things, because that can overwhelm the person and actually make them feel kind of worse towards you. And at the same time, it is also really important to match your body language to the person that you're talking to. What I mean by this is that some people tend to be more anxious when they're talking to someone. So with those people, big gestures, fast-paced body language would actually be the worst thing that you can do. Instead, what you could do is use a more relaxed body language, just make your gestures a little slower. But if you're like, hey, this is a little too hard for me because I don't want to be thinking that hard about who I'm talking to, what kind of body language they would prefer, then here's one thing that I can tell you that can definitely make the person feel closer to you and definitely make them like you more. And this thing is called the eyebrow flash. You might have heard me mention it in some of my videos on like body language signs that your crush likes you, for example. And basically an eyebrow flash is used as a subconscious indicator that we're not enemies, I don't mean you harm. If you see someone and their eyebrows kind of like go up and down when they greet you, like, oh hi, it usually happens really naturally, but if you kind of think about it, there's something inside you that feels really good when you get get that sign. So during the eyebrow flash, when you meet someone, and just making sure that you don't make it look weird, just naturally doing it would be really, really good for you. At the same time, one thing that can really make a person feel closer to you or feel more favorable towards you is actually something that one of people's favorite characters from the TV show Gossip Girl does a lot, Serena Vanderwoodson, which is when you're looking at Serena when she's talking to someone, she usually has this tendency of tilting her head a little bit to the side. She does it in a really subtle way to the point where it doesn't look weird, but it's still a really good body language hack that makes people like her more, and here's why. When you tilt your head while having a conversation with someone, it signifies a subconscious sign of trust. It's because on the evolutionary basis, our brains are wired for survival, and in the past, if you tilted your head like this, it would be exposing an artery, and people would do that only with the people that they really, really trust. And when talking to someone that you want to like you more, you can also use the fact that people really like to feel heard. So if you can make someone feel heard while talking to them, you are golden. And you can actually use your body language to do this. So the first thing that you can do is to nod a little bit when they're talking. Just a slight nod, you don't have to go overboard. And the second thing is to lean in just a tiny bit when you're listening to them. So if they're talking to you, just lean in a little bit and nod from time to time when they're making a point. That is going to make someone feel like you're really, really listening to them, and it's going to make them feel so good about themselves, which in turn is going to make them like you more. And one more thing that you can add to this, which is not necessarily body language, but it's going to increase the effect of this even more, is actually from time to time repeating what they last said when you're starting to reply. So for example, if someone was like, oh yeah, me and my friend were going to a club tonight, you can say something back like, you're going to a club? That's so nice. I've actually been to some, whatever, make your point, but just repeating the last few words that they said is going to reassure the person that you're talking to that you're really listening to them, and it's going to feel so good, which is going to make them really like you. My absolute favorite tip though when it comes to body language is actually this one, that if you don't really take away anything from this video, at least take away this tip, but it's also something that you can go overboard with, so just keep that in mind as well. But basically it's called the chameleon effect, and this is when you're mimicking the body language of the person that you're talking to. So for example, if you're standing and they lean on one leg, you do the same thing, but not immediately as if you're copying them, but just really naturally and subtly just lean to one side. If they cross their arms, you do the same thing, again, just really naturally. The key is not to make a show of it, but doing it subtly is going to make that person feel closer to you on a subconscious level, and it's going to give them this feeling that you guys are kind of in sync with each other. Speaking of feeling closer to someone, tell me if you've ever been in this situation where you're about to do something, or you're running a race and someone gives you a high five, or maybe you see someone and that person gives you a high five. You're going to feel so good in that moment, and you're going to feel so good about that person in that moment. This comes from two different reasons. The first one being that the gesture of high five itself is associated with support. The second is that touch actually releases the chemical oxytocin, which facilitates bonding. So what you can do to kind of like release this chemical more when you're talking to someone is to maybe give them a high five if the context is appropriate, or tap their arm when having a conversation with them. If you're talking with someone who you're not really meaning to flirt with, just keep it around the arm area. But probably one of the weirdest things that I can tell you guys when it comes to body language is that showing your wrists when you're talking to someone, when you're with someone, or you're sitting next to someone is going to make people feel like they trust you and like you more. So basically, again, on the evolutionary basis, which a lot in psychology is coming from the evolutionary basis, in the past and maybe even now, kind of subconsciously, if you can see someone's hands, you tend to trust that person more on the subconscious level, because you know that they don't have any weapons and therefore they're not a threat to you. Now this is not conscious, this process is not conscious in your head. You don't sit with someone and you go like, oh, their hands are in their pockets, that means that they're a threat to me because they might have something in their pocket. It all happens on a subconscious level in like a split second of processing in our brains. And if you guys want to know some psychology hacks to get people to like you that are not just body language related, then definitely check out this video right here. And if you want to know some psychology hacks that are going to make you feel more confident about yourself, so you can basically hack your brain into feeling more confident, then check out this video right here. And I love you guys so much. Let me know if you like this look down in the comments, because honestly, I'm in love with this look. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!